Hello everyone, I'm Daniel. It's that time again. We're going to do another reworking of a core set investigator deck. This time it's Dexter Drake. He's the Mystic. Let's take a look at his investigator card and the signatures, as we usually do. Very exciting investigator, in my opinion. Dexter was really cool in Chapter 1, and Chapter 2 has some cool stuff. So, first off, a big number, 5 willpower. We want to build around that. The other two numbers, the other two proactive stats here, intellect and combat, are not good. Let's not build around those. And 3, agility is okay. It's not worth just completely writing off, but it's not a 4. 4s are the numbers I want to build around. 3 is, maybe. All right. Investigator ability. Reaction. After you play an asset, either return another non-story asset you control to your hand, or play a different asset from your hand paying its cost once per round. So, play a new thing. Hopefully it's cheap. Play a different thing, different by title, from your hand. Hopefully it's cheap too. You've saved yourself a play action. Or maybe you've got something in play that has no more uses on it. Ran out of ammo, ran out of charges, and you want to put it back in your hand so you can play again next round. That's pretty neat. Also, sometimes you have things like Doom on your assets, on your player cards, and we can get rid of that Doom by simply having the asset leave play using this ability. So it's a nice little trick you can do here. There is a player card that kind of does the same thing. We'll see it and think about it too, but this is Dexter's ability. His Chapter 1 ability was sort of similar in that things could leave play and new things could enter play. But this has the way of getting something that was in play back in your hand so you can essentially recur it. Instead of having to throw it away, the discard pile goes back to your hand. I think that's cool. Okay, Elder Sign, +1. You may return a non-story asset at your location to its owner's hand. Kind of neat because it could be anyone, right? Maybe you're playing with I don't know, Daniela Reyes, who has a gun that has out of ammo. Put it back into her hand, and then she gets to play it again at some point. Neat. 6 health. That's pretty typical here. 8 sanity. Again, pretty typical. For the deck building, we are looking at 0 to 5 Mystic and 0 to 2 Rogue. So we're sharing some cards with Izzy, who we saw last week, and with Trish, who we'll see next week. That's interesting, right? So we'll have to think about those Mystic cards, especially since, again, I'm not trying in these deck guides to make something that is perfectly shareable with every other investigator deck that I'm building here. But last time we kind of ignored all of the willpower stuff for Izzy because maybe Dexter, if he's around, has priority over it. So while I do think there is a Mystic Dexter and a kind of Rogue Dexter, like not super, we're going to basically build one that is using all the Mystic stuff because that 5 willpower is hard to say no to. Signatures. This, for my next trick, the event here, is way, way, way better than I had expected. It reads great, right? But there's so much to this. I originally read this and it says, oh, search for a spell and add it to your hand, play it, reducing its cost by 2. Doesn't perfect task opportunity. That's fine. But actually it says items also. So there's sometimes a case where you really want an item, and that is kind of neat. I don't know. I mean, it's powerful. The icons are really good too if you just have found everything. This then you can use your ability with and return something else to your hand, or you can play another thing too. Great card. It is a spell, which doesn't matter right now, but it'll matter later when we see the cards in the Investigator Evergreen decks. Next, we have the Necronomicon. Dexter has somehow tried to translate the Necronomicon. It's not going well. Okay, Revelation, put it into play into your threat area. Can't leave play except for by the action ability below. So this takes up an arcane slot while it's in play, and you can't play assets or trigger abilities on other assets you control. Yikes. You need to do this. You need to do this test of 5 willpower before you can do anything else. If you succeed, discard it. If you fail, shuffle it back in your deck and take a horror. Tough. Not likely that we find, or not very usual that we find tests of this magnitude on weaknesses. So that's why I want to build around willpower, right? Like this weakness has to be cleared. It's just there's nothing we can do about that. Unfortunately, sometimes it pops up at the wrong time and you're with enemies and you're saying, well, I need to go do this first, and this will cause an attack of opportunity. Other thing, I know this keeps popping up. Everyone kind of says, wait a minute, can't I have someone else help me do this? If they take the test, right? It's in my threat area. They should take tests on things on my threat area. No, it's not about threat area. It's about if this is a treachery or not. This is an asset. The only one who can ever take the action on this card is Dexter. There's no ambiguity there. It's a player card. It's an asset. Can't do it otherwise. Okay. Okay. So we do want to make sure we can pass this kind of test. Of course, other people could help by committing cards to your test. That's not a problem. It's just that no one else can take the triggered ability. All right. They're actually kind of like pretty open cards. Like we want spells or items. That's fine. Like why would we not do that? So let's take a look at the deck itself. This is the starter deck. As you're well aware, there's one of everything. There's also 2 copies of Broken Bottle and Hand Crank Flashlight, which is kind of an interesting idea. So let's just look at these real quick. Why might Dexter want to have some cheap assets, you say? Well, he has an ability that says, I can play cheap things. And if there's some value of having them in play, then that's good. If there's no value, then why play them, right? And I think that Broken Bottle has that problem. For 1 resource, which is very cheap, you can get a weapon into play. But that weapon gets you up to 3. His combat's 2. 3 is not a number you're taking tests with. You can commit other cards, sure. But can we do better than Broken Bottle for our hand slot or just to deal damage? Is this really of any value? Now, discarding it means that I could put some other stuff on this, like Doom from Will to Cosmos, a card that we saw last week, and we'll look at again here. We definitely want these. This does make a lot of sense with Dexter's ability. So place a Doom on a player card you control, then discover a clue at your location and a clue at some other revealed location. It's good. I think these are worth it, but I don't think that doesn't really incentivize me to run the Broken Bottle. I just don't think this is a good card at all, and I don't think Dexter is getting anything extra out of this. If he had the 3 combat from chapter 1, maybe, but I'm not fighting at 3. Hand Crank Flashlight, on the other hand, has some value, right? It's kind of the same problem. 1 cost, investigate using intellect, you get +1, so we're at 3. But fighting is more important to actually pass the test. This is just sort of, I guess you can. Maybe we run perceptions. Maybe we run our soul links. Maybe you can do it. But it still feels kind of bad. So these are the only things I think we have 2 copies of, other than the emergency cache, which we should just run 2 copies of. Oh, and then we've got the guts and manual dexterity. So let's talk about this too. Like I said, there is a reason to run manual dexterity in general. It's a good card for maybe committing to someone else if they have a better than 3 or 4 or so. Treacheries mean that you can get away with this maybe. Combine it with Soul Link or Unexpected Courage. Okay, maybe we have something going on there. And there's a few other agility things in our rogue card pool that could incentivize us to do it even more. I don't want to go down that route, right? We have a lot of rogue cards here that don't look very good for Dexter. So if we are planning on doing the agility thing, we have to run Olivier. This is for Trish. I'm going to save Olivier for Trish and say Dexter probably could do something cool here. And I've seen it, but he's not making the cut. As soon as we get rid of that, the Thieves Kit, which could do something interesting for Dexter, it's got uses. You could use a slightly better number than intellect. The resources are good. It's not making the cut. Hammerless. If I'm not evading anyone, why am I fighting with agility? It's probably not going to make it the cut either. Goodbye. I've suddenly given myself a lot more uh, space in the deck here. Sticky fingers. I'm not evading anyone. Go away. Silver tongue. Evasion or parlay. Still probably not worth the deck slot. Goodbye. Breaking entering. My number is add 2 to 3. Add 3 to 2. However you want to talk about this. For 2 resources, try to investigate at 5. Succeed by 2. Good luck. Not going to make the cut. And we're left with 24 cards. What should we have multiples of? Oh, let's also get rid of Out of Sight. This card is not likely to succeed by 2 either, in which case this doesn't do anything. Goodbye. All right. So the other cards here we can make a case for. Spiritual Intuition. If we have money, we could start spending them on our spells. Sure. But let's talk about the spells then. I think because in our Izzy deck last week we said, no spells, please. Let's run 2 copies of each of these. This is our fight spell, Cosmic Flame. Fight using our really good number. If you succeed, you may spend a charge. Hey, this is really good. If we run out of charges here, we can return this to our hand. Bit of a problem to run this and Second Sight. This is for getting clues. It's a very similar card. This lets us spend charges for additional clues. The other one for additional charges for additional damage. The only problem here is that sometimes our Necronomicon is going to pop out and make one of those cards go into the discard pile if we have both in play. But that's just the price of doing business with Dexter Drake. So I think we still run these. We have Jim Culver, our really good ally. We're going to run 2 copies of him. He gives us +1 willpower, so we're at 6. It's a huge number, really. And after you take damage or horror, exhaust him to draw a card. That's going to help us get through the deck a bit more. We can run the Lucky Cigarette case as well. This is a rogue card that lets us draw more cards if we succeed by any skill test by 2 or more, which probably going to be willpower, but I bet we can do it. Not a bad idea. Lucky Charm, we threw this into Izzy's deck. I don't think we need to run it in Dexter. There's not a huge amount of synergy other than just you can bounce this in and out of play. I do feel like we're not doing much with his ability. And I think that is true given the card pool we have. And I still have the broken bottle and the hand crank flashlight here. So, what else can we run? Cloak of Resonance is interesting here. This does allow us to bounce this in and out of play. It's expensive, but I think we can run 2. If you're also playing with Izzy, maybe you can't because she wants it. With the meat cleaver thing. I do think it's worth it. Back up to 27. We'll come back to this. 1 copy of Spiritual Intuition. I don't think I need 2. We can run 2 copies of Premonition. It's a fine card. Kind of filler, but it's fine. We'll run 2 copies of Soul Link. This is a 3 icon skill to take some extra horror. This might deal some damage with our cloak. Might as well. Again, if we're playing with Izzy on the same team, probably we can't do this. I don't necessarily recommend playing them both on the same team. Maybe we'll have to run Unexpected Courage instead in that spot. We'll run 2 copies of Will of Cosmos and Ward. We're up to 31 cards now. All right. So here's the thing with Prestidigitation. This card is awesome. It costs 1 resource. You get to play an item asset from your hand, reducing its cost by 2. So it saves you the play action, the 2 resources. When your turn ends, return an item you control to your hand. An item. Any item, not necessarily the one that you just put into play with this. It could be the cloak. Maybe you've got 2 horror on it or something, or it's exhausted. Put it back into play. Put it back in your hand, rather. That's neat. And what other items do I have? Uh-oh. Lucky Cigarette case. I mean, you can return, you play this, you return something else. The bottle and the flashlight. I don't think we have the card pool for this at the moment. We need some other items. Now, There are a couple of upgraded items in the core set that maybe Dexter would play. Just as a little preview here, there is this cool mask, and maybe the prestidigitation just sits here because we want to use this. That's a tough call. This is a nice card for Dexter, though. All right, let's go back to everything here. We have Paint the Town Red, a way to get some resources. Search the top 9 cards of the encounter deck for a non-elite enemy. Draw it. Gain resources equal to the printed health of that enemy. And now you have an extra enemy to something. We don't want this card. Doesn't really do much for Dexter. Hey, we're down to 30. I don't love this deck. Let's look at it. Oh gosh, we have the broken bottle and the flashlight still here. How did that still happen? Problem is, what are we going to put here instead? I mean, we could commit to one of them. We can replace flashlight with overpower. We could replace broken bottle with perception. That's kind of okay. I still have the prestidigitation, which I'm skeptical of. I don't love this. What happened here? Really, what Dexter does is not supported by these cards super well, but he wants to use his willpower for these spells and then just crush the game by just putting these into play. Can we afford them? I think so. With his signature card here that reduces the cost by 2, and the fact that nothing else costs very much. We've got the cloak. We've got maybe putting your money into this card. I think you're going to be okay. But boy, oh boy, does this look like a mess. I think we're just going to have to live with it being a mess because I don't think they gave him enough items that make a lot of sense. Yeah, video over. Okay, no. Let's take a quick look at the upgrades. Okay, out of the rogues, we've got an upgraded Sticky Fingers, which is maybe actually interesting. The problem here is we don't have a good way of evading. The 3 agility is okay. If we had some kind of spell to evade with, maybe this is more interesting. I guess we're going to have to buy some more cards for that. But this seems kind of neat where you have a fast asset that you put into play, and then you get to use Dexter's ability to then return something else or play something else. It's almost like you've given some other asset fast too, just by his ability. So this is like pretty interesting. Maybe if you're actually using the evade, it's actually better, gives you some more resources. But right now, I'm like, I don't know. How about this other rogue card? Decisive Strike. 2 cost, level 2. Fight using combat. 2. Plus 2. 4. Deal +1 damage for the attack. If the attack defeats an enemy, gain 5 resources. All right, so it's basically stapling emergency cash to a 2 fight, 2 damage attack. Problem. You've got 4. I mean, this could be reason to run the overpowers if you want this. But why do we want this? It's not particularly good for Dexter. Because they printed the best spell for fighting ever. This Cosmic Flame is level 5, so all your XP is going into this thing right away. It's got 4 charges, upgrade over 3 from the base 1 at level 0. And you fight, you get +2, so we're going at 7 with nothing else in play. Deal +1 damage to the attack. Don't even spend any charges. You just get 2 damage attacks forever. If you succeed, you may spend 1 charge to deal 1 damage to an enemy at your location. Is this enemy engaged with you? Doesn't matter. Is it aloof? Doesn't matter. Those whippoorwills, they're going to get just sniped out of the air. If you just want to do 3 damage to a single enemy, cool, spend your charge. If you reveal a skull, just like the level 0 version, remove a charge. So this might actually go out of play eventually, but or the uses will leave. But you know what? Your Dexter, pull it back to your hand, play it again. You don't need anything else. Just play this card. Your first 10 XP, this card. It's very good. Okay. I did mention that this mask seems cool too. I didn't say what it did. It costs you 3 resources, which is not cheap. 1 XP, that is cheap. 3 charges. When you would reveal a chaos token, spend a charge, reveal 1 additional token, choose one of those tokens to resolve and ignore the other. If you resolve the token of the symbol, take a horror. All right, this lets you pass tests, right? This is going to let you say, hey, I drew an auto fail or a 0. Which one do you think I want to take? No, it's not just that. It's also where you think that you can beat all but maybe a couple tokens in the bag. And this is assurance there. Like there's no way for you to get up 4 on the test, but there's only the -3 and -4 that's going to hurt you. Use this. Probably you won't draw both of those. You'll probably get a -2 and a, -4 or something. Pick the -2 instead. Great. Potentially there's other synergy with the kinds of tokens you're trying to avoid, like the skull. So that is a very good card for him just because it doesn't take up a slot that is used by anything else. You know what I could have talked about? Level 0. We could put in the fedora. 2 cost. Takes up a slot that otherwise we're not using, other than the mask. Has a little bit of soak. No. No. Unexpected Courage is worth a shot, though. Potentially we don't run a couple of these other things. Like this and the 1 copy of Spiritual Intuition. Those could be Unexpected Courage and it'd just be better. But I think this is okay. All right. Let's go back to the upgrades. We have a way of getting some clues. Augur of Elikos. Investigate using your intellect. This is a level 3 card that also no one else can take in the box, so maybe we're testing at 7. 5 plus 2. If you just succeed, discover additional clue at your location. The same 2 clues you get from level 0 second sight. Fine. And if a symbol was revealed during the test, you may discard a terror or hex treachery from any investigator's threat area. I mean, okay, play the mask. Hope that there's a terror or hex around. This is pretty niche ability here. There's no reason to spend XP on this unless we're really hurting for clues on the team and you have nothing else to do. That would be unusual. Fearless, solid skill. 2 willpower icons, we like those. If you succeed by 2 or more, you heal 2 horror, otherwise just heal a 1. We might be taking some horror from stuff. Mostly the stuff would be failing this test, or our soul link, if we don't put it on the cloak, or our ward of protection. Unlikely for us to take much more horror from a scenario. Mostly treacheries deal you horror if it's a willpower test. And I'm not likely to fail those. So, yeah. There's also the Charisma, Relic Hunter stuff you could do. We don't have any reason for that because we only have 1 ally and we only have 1 accessory slot. It's really a whole pile of nothing other than this card, and maybe Sticky Fingers is interesting, but it's a little bit light here for old Dexter. Let's go back to what we have here. Do you have a better idea here? Do you have something that works with just the core cards? Because maybe we do have to lean into the rogue stuff. It just feels kind of bad. I don't love running 2 copies of Broken Bottle and 2 copies of Hand Crank, so you probably should just remove one of them and go with the skill card of the other. Let's do that. Let's go to Overpower and Broken Bottle, which I don't like, but we're going to do it anyway. Okay. Now at least I can reasonably fight with that bottle and then get rid of it. Painful. You know what's going to help, though? Let's check out the cards when we add our good friend Marie Lambeau and Andre Patel to the mix. Okay, Let's give this another once over at level 0. I think with many, many more rogue cards, we could actually do something with agility here. I'm not going to go over that too much here. I don't want to just rebuild the deck entirely, but there are a number of other things that we could think about playing here. With a larger number of items, you could start to put more copies of this into play and think about that part. We have the polished cane, which isn't particularly good. We're running at what, 5? But maybe we can make this better with Olivier or something. We have lockpicks also going at 5. This is probably a bad idea, right? Exhausting this for a single clue and probably actually failing to do so is not worth your resources. You should just run Thieves' Skid instead. That's just going to be better, I think. Not good, but you could make something happen here. We have the Extravagant Ring, another accessory slot here. When you would succeed a skill test, spend a Renown, exhaust this, get +2 skill value. This doesn't do anything with us, with our deck. This is not helpful. Do not run this. Marcus, 3 cost ally. You gain 1 additional resource during the upkeep phase. After you fail any skill test, deal horror to him, and then he goes bye-bye. Jim is one of the best allies that we've seen in Chapter 2. Marcus is one of the worst allies we've seen in Chapter 2. I do think that Dexter could maybe like return him to hand or something, but gosh, there's just not value here. We have things to put into our deck, and that's just not one of them. Center stage, I think, is interesting. This is pretty generic. It costs a lot, but it doesn't take up a slot. And if I'm playing Dexter, things that don't take up slots are really good. Okay. During a skill test, spend a Renown, exhaust this, get +1 skill value for each action you have spent this round, including this one. Okay. I'm not likely to have too many extra actions as Dexter. I don't think so. But getting the +1 skill value for like any generic test is pretty good. Imagine if you have a full round and then you have the Necronomicon in play and you say, look, I can get +3 if I use this on my 3rd action. Pretty good. I'd run that. Fame is a not good card, but it does cost 1 resource. It's cheap. There's no slot here. We can get 8 resources eventually. Takes us a while. I think I'd think about it. It's not horrific. The math is like not great, but if I want to generate some resources, I'm saving myself on the action playing it. It's okay. The Grapevine. Here's another card that takes up no slot. If I want to get to that location with an enemy, this lets us move twice to get to a location with an enemy. I think I'd run this over Broken Bottle, but it's not that great. Okay, we've got a bunch of events, and all of these events add your agility, I believe. No. This one doesn't do that at all. I think it's the upgrade or something. Anyway, this one lets you fight at a 4, and if the target enemy has been evaded, exhausted, you get +1 damage. This is terrible. Okay. We saw breaking and entering already. Clean sweep. Also, you're just not going to pass this test that easily. You're at 4 for 2 resources. No thanks. Pay your dues. Parlay. Choose a non-elite enemy at your location with X remaining health. That enemy disengages for each investigator and gains aloof. Discover a clue. There's nothing special here for Dexter. Not going to make the cut. It's fine, I think, but it doesn't excite me. A quick exit. You can evade at 5 now, base. If you succeed by 2 or more and the evaded enemy is non-elite, it doesn't. Ready during upkeep. I don't think it does much for us either. Okay, we're gonna discover a clue after we successfully evade an enemy. We just need a way to evade, and the answer is not convert all of this to doing rogue cards. That's just not the way. However, we have some skill cards that are pretty good. Watch this. This is an old favorite. It does have a willpower icon, so I can throw this into a spell. Yes, this is a fast emergency cache, which is really good. Yes, please put this in your deck. Easy Street. If I have a lot of money, this has a bunch of wild icons. Yes, we want that. Very good. This might make the cut over Soul Link. If we're not going to run the cloak, this makes the cut instead. Out the door. Do you want money? This has a wild icon on it. You get 2 resources. If you fail, they'll lose the 2. You could use this with an agility test too, but the wild icon is going to make this really good. I'd run this over manual decks, I think. Okay, over to the Mystic cards. The doll. I don't think this is the way. I'm not going to talk about this card again. Bloodstone does make our willpower number even bigger. You have Jim, you have Bloodstone, gets you to 7. 7's a good number. Maybe we don't need to upgrade our Cosmic Flame as quickly. Maybe we do. But this also helps us with damage. Dexter's 6-8, 6 health, 8 sanity. This shores him up to being basically like an 8-8. Good. It's also another item that's cheap. Speaking of assets that are cheap, Arcane Initiate. This has Doom on it. This works really well with with the Dexter's ability. We already have Jim, but we could maybe run both of these, especially if we're going to go all out on spells. Hey, remember our signature is a spell? Arcane Initiate can help find it. That's really good. Well, we finally found our evasion spell. Shadow Meld. Cost 2, that's really cheap. And we've got 4 charges. Evade, if you succeed, I can spend a charge to move. I think this is the sort of thing you want over the movement that's going on in Rogue, like Grapevine and whatnot. I think so. You are overloading on arcane slots. Maybe we don't need Second Sight. I don't know. Shadow Meld's pretty good, though. Offering Bowl. Take damage for resources. It's cheap. Probably worth it. Resources are good. Damage? We'll figure it out. A lot of events. We've got Consume Life. This lets us attack using our willpower, +1 damage, heal. It's expensive. It's not going to make the cut, I think, just because we'd like to find our spell. But if we're really concerned, like a bigger player count, maybe we could run this and it's a backup option, but you don't want to play it. It's pretty underwhelming for 3 cost. Favor Balshandor. Take some damage if you want. Doesn't really help us out too much other than Jim. And this is a little bit of economy for our spells. Yeah, I think you could run this. So things like Premonition now start to get cut. They're just not doing enough for us. Spiritual Charm, another way of getting some resources, also healing an enemy off of someone else. A lot of cards here. I'm not going to read them all out, but this is pretty good. It's not going to replace Emergency Cache, and it probably shouldn't, but it does do a lot, I think, once it's in play, especially if you've got a aloof enemy around. The skills. Blood Curse, a lot of wild icons. Take direct damage if you succeed. Decent. Decent for our build. Especially if we're running the Bloodstone, it's okay to take some direct damage. Card's much better in Marie because the damage is better. The 4 icons, of course, are fantastic. The Cosmic Guidance probably isn't good enough. 1 icon. There's better stuff we've just seen. Healing. Healing's fine. Torrent of Power, I don't think is that interesting. You could argue that this is really good because you can just then bounce a spell back to your hand as Dexter. I just don't think it makes the cut over cards that just always are consistent. So that's my take here. No other neutral cards, but there are level 1 to 5 cards all over the place. In the Rogue class, we've got Lockpicks, level 1. Don't do it. Marcus, level 2. He's got extra sanity. Costs only 2. Maybe you'll never fail. Who are you bumping out for this? Upgraded Grapevine. There's a card draw stapled to it. There's also a cheaper cost. You can go a little bit further. Again, I think you could reasonably run this in Dexter. Just feels like, do you need this 3 times? I don't know. We have some upgraded events. Now we start using agility and we're adding numbers to it. This does 3 damage for a single attack. Or maybe just upgrade this. I mean, ideally you're doing both, I guess, if you really need to do this. But what are we fighting at? 5? Do we need to look at these? You're investigating at 5. No. We saw this already. Quick exit, you're evading. Oh, wait a second. Now we're adding our willpower. An 8. Where did that come from, right? Evade at 8. And the evaded enemy is not elite, doesn't ready during upkeep. What did the level 0 look like? Is it just that we get a huge bonus to this? If you succeed by 2 or more. This removes the succeed by 2 or more, although we're definitely going to succeed by 2 or more with this. Yeah, this is something Dexter could take. If he's not running the Shadow Meld asset, we could just run 2 of these. Save ourselves a slot. Okay. And then there's level 1 out the door. For 1 XP. 1 measly XP. You double the resources you get. Very good. There's probably no reason not to run this in Dexter. No reason not to run it in anyone. Literally anyone who has access to it. There's like no restrictions on this card. It's crazy. All right, then there's the Mystic ones. In the Marie Lambeau deck, we've got a Ritual Dagger. Fight using combat, but you add your willpower, so we're fighting for 1 damage at 7? Okay, I'm listening. After you play a spell event, take a damage and exhaust this, shuffle the event into your deck instead of discarding it. You know what's really cool? This you play off of for my next trick. You play this, search your deck for a spell or item asset. Item, reduce its cost by 2. This is in play after you play a spell event. So now that's actually, you can trigger this. Take a damage, exhaust this, shuffle the event into your deck instead of discarding it. What? Okay. I mean, even if you're not playing this with it, right? You play other things, and this certainly will trigger as well. Neat combo. This is a much better hand slot item than our bottle would be, right? If you're starting to play more spell events, we'll have to look at what those might be other than the ones we got here. Then, yeah, you could do this. Even for the 1 damage, I think it's doing something. I mean, you don't put, well, I mean, don't get me wrong. You're not putting 3 XP and a hand slot into something that just does 1 damage. You're doing it for the spell events, but you can use that fight too. Upgraded Jim Culver. Now he gives you an extra resource. Now he's got 3/3 soak. Yeah. This is an exceptional card, so it costs you 6 XP, and you place a Doom on this card. Fight using willpower. You get +2, 7, +1 for the attack, 2 damage attack. If the attack defeats an enemy, remove a Doom. Okay. There's another way to remove the Doom. Just pick this thing up. Just pick this thing up with his ability. Neat. Or there's the skull or other thing, of course. Yeah. Upgraded Second Sight. It's good. Extra charge. You can get clues from connecting locations. That's good. Shadow Meld. You can move to locations further away. 5 charges here. Maybe you do that Torn of Power thing. Maybe. And that's it for the really expensive assets. We also, just before I forget, should mention that there is a card that gives you an additional arcane slot, which is especially good for the Necronomicon to sit in and not have to kick out some other spell. Good. Okay. Mask we talked about. The ceremonial robes we did not talk about. Reduce the cost of the first spell or ritual card you play each round by one. You know what this is? A cheap asset. Man, they stuck all the good Dexter stuff into this deck. Why in the core is there nothing cool like this? Upgraded spiritual tuition, just like all the rest we've seen. It's got starting. It's an asset. Never thought about that. If this is in our opening hand as an extra card, especially, it really helps Dexter use his ability right away. Hmm. Yep. Okay. Events. We have Bend Blood as a spell event. It costs us 5 XP, 2 resources. Fight using willpower, get +3, so you're fighting at 8. You just deal 1 damage. But if you succeed, you also deal 1 damage to all the other enemies at your location. And then none of those enemies can attack you. I haven't really seen this card. I think it's fancy. I just don't know if it's good for the XP cost. But it's here. Nothing special, I think, for Dexter. None of these really will be. Blood Ward. Cancel an attack from non-elite enemy. Heal damage. Fine. Retribution. Take some damage in horror. Deal the damage back. Reasonable if you have, again, Doom on stuff, and this can be like your Arcane Initiate or someone that you want to then get rid of. Card is good, though. Doesn't do anything special unless we have that. This one? No. It was the Ritual Dagger. And you can shuffle it back in, and that's pretty cool. I don't think you want to go heavy on these events. Like, it just feels like they're too expensive. But I do think that this is a neat card. Ultimate Sacrifice. It's a spell. If you haven't seen this one before, you play it when the investigation phase ends, and then you repeat the investigation phase. At the end of the phase, you're defeated and suffer physical trauma. Nothing special here for Dexter, but the idea is that you are going to play another investigation phase to finish off the scenario. Maybe you resign. Maybe you just win. Maybe you were just going to die anyway, right? 4 XP is not cheap, though. Blood Curse. This one now deals damage to any card with health, including enemies. Great upgrade. Probably just better than the level 0 in general, but for for Dexter, there's nothing special. For Jim Culver, though, if you deal the damage to yourself, just like the level 0, you'll be drawing cards. And lastly, Eldritch Whispers. If a symbol token is revealed during the test, place up to 2 charges or 2 secrets among assets you control. I think this is sort of interesting in the sense that if we're running the Mask of Salinas, we might be drawing more symbols, and Dexter kind of wants that card. And this just lets him recharge things. But we can do that in other ways. It's not especially exciting here. Probably should just run Fearless if you're trying to get a 2 willpower icon. All right. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna show you all in the future a Dexter Drake deck that I built for true solo, which uses all these sets: the core, Andre, Marie, and it's fun. It's interesting. I'm just a little disappointed from the level 0 core only deck here. A lot of the things you can throw in here, I think there's just too few items that he wants to use. That's the problem. And if he had more items and more cheap assets that didn't take up slots, this looks a lot better. As it is, try it out. I think as soon as you get your Cosmic Flame or your Second Sight, you're going to see that you can do a lot. But as it is, if you've done a better job, and I'm sure you have, let me know down in the comments how to fix this thing. All right, bye.